Alright, gonna start this video off a bit weird. Um, Today I woke up at 4, so I'm gonna get some work in. Finished reading the book, gonna get some coding in, and then I'm gonna go to the gym. After the gym, gonna take a nap, and then after the nap, gonna go hang out with some friends, and then finally when I come home, maybe do a bit more coding, sleep early. Perfect day, planned it all out. It's gonna go great. Anyways, I just finished Into the Wild by John Krakauer, or however you say his name. Man, I'm just gonna freestyle this because I literally just finished this book, just pressed record on the camera. Um, man, I can't even. This was a pretty good read. I'll just start off with that. Like, if you are, if you have some time to sink in, 200, literally exactly 200 pages, 204. This is a very good book. Um, Essentially, it covers a story of a man called Chris McCandles who um, basically wants to move away from society and, you know, all that. He just doesn't want, like, any human contact either. So he goes to Alaska and he tries to survive in the wilderness. And this is essentially this author writes his, like, autobiography. But the bad thing is that 4 months later, during into his trip, Chris is actually found dead inside of his bus, which he found in the middle of nowhere. Um, I mean, essentially, like, it's just a story that you would think is fiction when it's, I mean, yeah, when it's fiction, when it's rather non-fiction. Like, this actually happened to this man, and he recorded it all in his journal. And what John Krakauer does as the author is he actually goes to the people that Chris McCandles met along his journey to Alaska, such as, like, when he went to uh, when he, like, hitchhiked everywhere, people who helped him out, like, took him into their homes, fed him, people who gave him a job. Like, John Krakauer is actually very thorough and goes to everyone and asks, like, what they thought of Chris and interviews them, which I thought was, like, brilliant, right? Like, it makes the book so much more interesting because each chapter, imagine it's like a new episode of, like, an anime. You're literally seeing a new person's perspective of Chris and, like, their story. And I remember one story that I was pretty touched by was I forgot his exact name, but it was I think, let me try and find it. Virginia Beach. No, not this. Anyways, it was an old man, I remember that, who hitchhiked and helped Chris. Um and the story behind the old man is that he lost his, like, child or, like, son early on, and he never really had a chance to, I guess, have a son. So he really took Chris under his wing, and I don't know, it was just a very sad story. Like, his his entire backstory, like the old man who helped him, it was just very touching, I think. And then later, when he found out that Chris died, they showed, like, how he reacted, and it was very sad. So there's just, like, a ton of, like, stories like that. Like, there's, like, probably 7 encounters of different people in here, and they all said, like, Chris was, like, this super charismatic guy. And that's something you'll find throughout this is Chris is described as this perfect person. Like, he's super smart, and he's like that person who seems to be good at everything, right? And so, like, seeing someone like him go, it's pretty tough. But yeah, I'm genuinely surprised. I like this book more than I thought because um I think like months ago, maybe even years ago, I saw a video by Mr. Ballin, which is a YouTube channel, um, and he actually described the story of Chris, and so I already knew like everything that happened, so I was like, okay, it's probably not gonna be that great because I already know, but man, again, John Krakauer, hands out to you, bro. Like this guy goes so in detail. Like I swear he analyzed everything possible. So very good book. And then later on, in around that like later chapters, he talks a lot about like what led to his death, and I thought that was also interesting because he like lists many reasons and like what people mostly think vs like what's probably right. He suggests that it was like a mold or a fungus that grows on legumes that Chris was eating, which essentially stops your body from, I think, taking in nutrients from the food you eat. Meanwhile, Chris was already uh, extremely, um, in like very bad starvation. So, like he was starving. So that was like, you know, kind of eye opening, kind of sad too. Because imagine you're starving and then you eat something that like makes you starve and literally not able to like accept nutrients. Kind of sad. But yeah, that was interesting. I never knew that. Apparently, there's fungus that does that now. Um, anyways, other than that, I'm trying to think what else like stuck out to me. I guess yeah, John Krakauer also doesn't only cover like his journey in Alaska. He literally documents his entire journey. Like I think Chris, this crazy guy, went to Mexico or something, and then like used a boat to get from like Mexico to like the most southern tip. Like maybe not Mexico. Sorry, like somewhere where there's a river or something, and he like crossed it, ended up on a beach, left his boat there, and then hitchhiked all the way to Alaska. Like I don't know, I don't know. These were early on in the chapters, and I kind of forgot it because I probably read them like literally like days ago. So yeah. Anyways, I keep saying this book is good. I think this is the one book where I've read where it's like it's just a book you can enjoy, right? I feel like all I've covered on this channel are like self improvement like books, but this one's like it's just a good non-fiction book that you can read and just enjoy. Just follow his journey, Chris McCandless, and you'll learn something along the way. Um, I think it was great. I think it was great. Every story in here, every interaction, every account with Chris, it was well documented. Again, this author actually went above and beyond. Later on, he would even visit the campsite that Chris stayed in, which I thought was pretty cool. Um, he also compares. Oh yeah, he also brings up his own story of climbing a mountain and kind of like compares how like most people think of Chris as like this suicidal, like stupid young man to himself, and he really like questions the reader like maybe he wasn't dumb. Like I think people have just been like okay, he suggests that people have just been like too accustomed to adult life that they kind of don't have that like kid esque like vibe with them anymore. So the author actually like kind of relates to Chris in the fact that like people like without knowing kind of just slap a label on him as being dumb, as being like an unprepared kid. But maybe you want to look further into it, like not just say that directly because I mean the author almost had a near death experience on the mountain. So hey, you know Anyways, I'm gonna end that there. This was a great book. Let's give it a, I don't know, because sometimes a, a downside was like it would get kind of boring, because at the end of the day you're listening to someone like hitchhike, pretty much, for a long amount of like chapters. So maybe like a 8 or a 7.5 out of 10, which is good. It's really good. I've never had a, a good rating for autobiography before, kind of. So check out this book. Check out the diary. It's I mean, check out the book because this is a diary of a man who kind of exceeded what everyone thought. Went to Alaska. Unfortunately, didn't make it out, but very interesting. Very interesting. If you're interested in nature, check this out. I think it's a great book. Anyways, I'm gonna call it there. Sorry for the bright light, but yeah, cool. I think this is week 7. Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, week 7 of this summer reading challenge thing. So yeah, I don't know what book I'm gonna do next. Uh, I guess I'll just see you next week when I picked it out and finished it. So yeah, cool. See you.